Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Nazir, Parak Chapter 5, Mishna Mishnah 5. Okay, so, we're going to get into a little bit of a complicated case here. There were a number of people walking on the road. And let's let you know beforehand, there were 6 of them. And there was somebody approaching them. Amar Echad Mehen. So one of them said, Hareini Nazir Shazeh Ploini. I am a Nazir if that is so-and-so. Now, in essence, you have to know the case here is, even though the wording would says, I am a Nazir if it is so-and-so, what it really means is, I am so sure that it's that it's so-and-so that I'm making myself a Nazir. Meaning to prove that I am so certain that it is so-and-so, I make myself a Nazir if it's so-and-so. So he didn't make a condition. He didn't say I'm a Nazir on the condition it's so-and-so. I'm a Nazir if it's so-and-so means to say that I am so certain that this is so-and-so that I'm making myself a Nazir. And he really is so certain that it is so-and-so that he means to make himself a Nazir. But okay. Now, you know the rest of the story. The Echad Amar, and another one says, Amar Echad Mehaner Nazir Shazeh Ploini. The Echad Amar, and another one said, Hareini Nazir She'ein Zeh Ploini. Another guy says, I am hereby a Nazir if it's not so-and-so. I am so certain that it's not so-and-so, I make myself a Nazir that it's not so-and-so. And he means to make himself a Nazir because he is certain that it is not so-and-so. Got that so far? Okay, next case. Hareini Nazir, not next case, next person, rather. Hareini Nazir she'echad mikem Nazir. Now, man number 3 turns to the other 2 guys and he says to them, I am a Nazir that one of you is a Nazir. I am making myself a Nazir because one of you is a Nazir. Or actually the word is if one of you is a Nazir, but he means the same idea.
Because the first one said he isn't,
and
the other one said he is.
Yeah, so one of them is right and one of them is wrong, right?
Right.
So his statement, he's now saying, I hereby am a Nazir if one of you, meaning one of you guys are a Nazir now. Because one of you are right or wrong.
Right.
Okay? But again, he's like saying, this is not a condition. This is where he says, I am a Nazir, like I'm so certain that one of you are a Nazir, or I'm making myself a Nazir because one of you are a Nazir. Now, the 4th guy says, She'ein echad mikem Nazir. He just says the same thing, but in negative. He says, I am a Nazir, that one from you are not a Nazir. It's the same thing as before, just that one is saying, I'm a Nazir if one of you are, and the other one says, I'm a Nazir if one of you aren't. Okay? So far I got 4 people. Next guy, number 5. Shashneichem Nazirin. The number 5 man says, I am hereby a Nazir if both of you are Nazirim. Meaning, I'm making myself a Nazir because both of you are Nazirim. Now, how can both of them be Nazirim? One's right, one's wrong, no? But the answer is, this guy is under the impression, he is certain that even if you made a mistake in your Naziris, you're still a Nazir. Which we will see soon, that question. But he was like, he's saying, I'm a Nazir if both of you are Nazirim. Which means to say, you're both Nazirim and I make myself a Nazir. I am so certain that you're both Nazirim, or I'm so certain, or I'm making myself a Nazir because both of you are Nazirim. All right? Next. So Shashneichem Nazirim. I'm sorry, I don't know if I read it right. Shashneichem Nazirim, that you are Nazirim. And he talks to the first 2 people, right? And he says to them, I am a Nazir if both of you are Nazirim. I am so sure you're both Nazirim that I make myself a Nazir. Again, trying to show his certainty. Then the 6th guy says, Shekulchem Nazirim. See, number 5 only addressed the first 2 original people. And number 6 addresses everybody. Everybody who said their piece over here. And everybody who said that they're Nazir if this and this. He says, I make myself a Nazir that all you Nazirim. I am certain you're all Nazirim, and I make myself, and to bring that up, and to show that I make myself a Nazir. Okay, that's the story. Bei Shammai Oimrim. Bei Shammai say, Kulam Nazirin. They are all Nazirim. Every one of them is a Nazir. Why? Because the same way Beis Shammai held until now, Hektish B'toyas have a Hektish. A mistake in Hektish is Hektish. So says Beis Shammai, and he derives it from a pasuk, he derives it from the words of the Torah, that Naziris works the same way as Hektish, and a mistake in vow Naziris also is Naziris. So again, in this case, if Beis Shammai agree, as we said before, if you make a condition, I'm a Nazir on the condition it's so-and-so. Well, if it doesn't come out being so-and-so, right, the condition wasn't met. But the whole point here is that he's not making a condition. He is making himself a Nazir. And he's basically letting us know he's making himself a Nazir to show how certain he is about what he feels. And, well, let's just take the first guy. He says, I am a Nazir if it's so-and-so. I am a Nazir because I'm certain it's so-and-so. And guess what? It's not so-and-so. It's so-and,
Someone else.
and someone else. Good. It's so and someone else. So, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. But says Beis Shammai, it doesn't matter. Because even just like when you consecrate someone to the Beis HaMikdash by mistake, with a mistake, by mistake, Beis Shammai says it works. Same thing by Naziris. And everybody else along the thing, right? Whether they come out, like, if you're right, you're right. But if you're wrong, according to Beis Shammai, it doesn't matter. So the guy, let's say the without going through exactly each one, right? The sixth guy said, if all of you are, right? Not all of them are Nazirim because they were right. Some of them are wrong. Right? In each case, you're going to have somebody who's right and somebody who's wrong. Nonetheless, Beis Shammai say they're all Nazirim. Beis Hillel say, and you could probably figure out what Beis Hillel is going to say. Beis Hillel is going to say, who's a Nazir? Whoever was right. Now, but the wording of the Mishnah is a little bit complicated. Because the wording reads like this. Beis Hillel say, Ein a Nazir elamishla niskaymu devarav. The only one who's a Nazir is someone whose words were not fulfilled. Does that make sense? According to Beis Hillel, the only one who's a Nazir is the one whose words were not fulfilled. If his words were not fulfilled, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
So therefore, it happens to be that they bring down here that the Gemara corrects the words to the only one is a Nazir. The only one is a Nazir is one whose words were fulfilled. But the Rambam in his commentary, takes the words that we have in the Mishnah and explains it like this: nobody is a Nazir except for the ones whose words did not give them any grounds to avoid becoming a Nazir. Sheniskaimu devarav means what?
Try that on me.
So the wording, the way he reads the words is, nobody is a Nazir except for the one whose words were not given, his words were not established or given ground to say that he's not a Nazir. Or I shouldn't say that. That is, yeah. It's just a kind of, roundabout way of saying it. But just in order to try to fit something into the words, the way we have the text of the Mishnah, he tried to explain it that way. The only one who is a Nazir are the ones whose words did not give them any grounds, meaning they were not grounds to avoid becoming Nazirim. But the bottom line is, according to Beis Hillel, the only ones in Nazirim are the ones who were not mistaken. Now, Rabbi Tarfon Oimer ein echad mehem Nazir. Rabbi Tarfon says none of them are Nazirim. None of them. Right? Beis Shammai said all of them. Beis Hillel said whoever was right. And Rabbi Tarfon says none of them. The explanation behind Rabbi Tarfon is that according to Rabbi Tarfon agrees that, like Beis Hillel, that a mistaken Naziris is not a Naziris. The thing is that Rabbi Tarfon is saying that even the ones that were not mistaken are also not a Nazir. Why? Because Rabbi Tarfon holds, again based on the words of the Torah, that when you make your Naziris, you have to be clear about whether you're a Nazir or not. In this case, when you declared you're a Nazir, you said, I'm a Nazir if it's so-and-so. So until so-and-so until he gets close enough to recognize, you're not going to know if you became a Nazir. And according to Tarfon, the vow Naziris has to be the kind of vow that you are certain that you're becoming a Nazir with it. But if it's not certain to you, it's not clear to you that you're becoming a Nazir when you make the vow, it's not a good vow. Have a good Shabbos and a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. So now what?